Hi everyone, it's Hannah here from Blue Ferret Boarding. On brand. You can probably hear some chunter monkeys in the background. We like to think of that as just background ambience. Maybe. So, it's February, it's the month of love. But instead, we're going to talk about reproduction. And as you'll see, very little to do with love in there. Ferrets, like any other mammal, are controlled by hormones. And it's the hormones that cue things with the ferret and tell their bodies when and what to do. And it's just the same for their reproduction. It's hormones that kick in and tell the ferret when it's time to reproduce. However, unlike quite a few different mammals, ferrets' hormones are controlled by what we call photoperiodism. Say that when you've had one. So, photoperiodism, what is it? Well, basically, it's about the amount of light or dark there is. So, as the nights start getting lighter or as the days start getting longer and we have more light to dark ratio, that's when ferret hormones are going to start kicking in and saying, come on guys, it's time. And it's about then that you'll start finding your ferrets are coming into season. In fact, we're doing this now in February, and it's not going to be very long before some of our fertiles, those that are whole, will start getting their hormones on. Just like that. So then, it's not the warmth of the day that triggers the hormones in ferrets, it's the light and dark. And that's when you're starting to get Jills starting to put the makeup on and boys starting to straighten their tie. Sadly, it's also when we start to get a lot of unwanted kits and ferret rescue centres become overwhelmed. So then, let's talk about recognising when you're fertile, starting to think about girls or boys. With the hob, it's kind of obvious in as much as hobs start having a smell. They already have a bit of a smell. Think about spotty teenage boys in their bedrooms. And with hobs it's the same. They'll have quite a distinct smell when they're a whole hob and they have their hormones. And those hormones are what creates that smelly hob syndrome. When they're coming into season, it will be even more apparent. We like to call it odour hob. And depending on the hob, that can be pretty whiffy. And some people love the smell of it. Tracy, that one's for you. However, that's not the only hint. Just like dogs, you can start finding your ferret mounting animate and inanimate objects indiscriminately. Watch out. Furthermore, they will start being a lot more aggressive and they will start trying to scruff things and drag things even more than normal. Ferrets like stashing and so they'll often want to grab you and stash you, but this is a little bit more determination. I am going to take you, or I am going to take this ferret and I am going to drag it into a corner, and it can start hurting other ferrets. And that's when you know, when there starts to be a little bit of squeaking and a little bit of scruffing, that's a good indication with everything else that they're coming into season. So a hob reaches sexual maturity usually 9 months after birth. The first 6 months are just the development until they get their testes, but then it takes a good 3 months for those testes to fully develop to maturity. So you're looking at about 9 months for a male. Talking about whole hobs. This here is Bear. He's actually a semi-Angora, which means he's got a very soft fluff and his nose is a little different. And it also means he's just a chunk of gorgeousness, aren't you? However, because he is whole, he's also quite whiffy. In fact, I'm going to go and get the cameraman to have a whiff and find out. He doesn't know it yet. How does that smell then?
Whiffy.
Whiffy. Pretty whiffy. This is what we call odour hob, and he's particularly whiffy because it's getting into mating season and he's got his cheapy aftershave on. He's also quite yellow. You can see under here it's quite a yellow colouring, and that is indicative of the hormones and the oils in his body. But more importantly, when he plays with his buddy Joe, we can't put them together at night time because he will just beat the living daylights out of Joe. But they can just about play together, but Bear just keeps grabbing him and trying to stash him. The reason? Because Bear's got big balls. Oh yeah, baby. Say that when you've had a few. Bear has got his trouble nuggets still, and if I can show them, can I bring them up to the camera? Or do you want to zoom in for me there? If you can see them. There. So, this boy's ready and waiting for the woman. He's pretty much put his newspaper ad in saying single male, looking for a good time. Didn't you? But this is Bear, and he's a full hob.